When I was a teenager growing up in the Boones Creek Baptist Church in rural Kentucky, I was enlisted to teach a Sunday school class of 10-year-old boys, which shows just how desperate the church was in recruiting Sunday school teachers for 10-year-old boys. One Sunday, I opened the class by asking, "What do you have to do to go to heaven?" One boy answered sincerely, "Well, you have to die." I watched on television the funeral service of former President George H.W. Bush held at St. Martin's Episcopal Church in Houston, Texas. The rector, Reverend Russell Levinson, shared a conversation that he and President Bush had privately at the Bush's home. The former president asked his pastor this question: "What is heaven like?" Have you ever wondered the same? There are allusions to what heaven is like in the Bible, particularly in the book of the Revelation, which is the last book of the New Testament. Using metaphorical terms which were common to what is called apocalyptic literature. Apocalyptic literature is a genre of ancient writing. The book of the Revelation describes heaven as a city paved with streets of gold and surrounded with walls of jasper and gates of pearl. Some who wonder about heaven allow their imagination to run wild by picturing residents of heaven with wings, playing harps while sitting on white clouds, and eating chocolate without ever putting on weight. Though I don't know what heaven is like, I have come to believe that maybe all I need to know about heaven is found in the words of Jesus to his disciples as he talked to them about his impending death and ascension into heaven. In John chapter 14 and verse 3, he assured them, "I am going to prepare a place for you, and I will come back," and notice, "and take you to be with me, that you also may be where I am." Remember the words of assurance Jesus spoke to the penitent thief who was crucified along with him? Jesus told him, "Today, notice, you will be with me in paradise." Some years ago, I heard about a man who contracted a highly lethal form of cancer. His wife had died several years earlier, and on one of his final visits to his oncologist, he took with him his golden retriever, who had been his constant companion since the loss of his wife. When the man was called into the private office of the doctor, of course, he told his dog to stay in the waiting room, and the compliant retriever obeyed. The oncologist was a believing Christian, and so the patient asked the doctor the same question former President Bush had asked his pastor: "What is heaven like?" His doctor answered honestly, "I don't know, but I think I can give you an idea of what it's like." He then asked the man what he thinks would happen if the doctor opened the door to his office and allowed the man to say to his dog, "Come on in, boy." "Well, there's no question about it," he replied. "My golden retriever would immediately come into the office." "Right," the doctor responded. "But he wouldn't come into the office because he knew what the office was like. He would come into the office because you are here." In the same way, I cannot tell you what heaven is like, the oncologist said, but I can assure you that heaven is where Jesus is. Remember the same assurance that Jesus gave his disciples in John 14 and to the penitent criminal in Luke 23? It is the words, "You will be with me." Is there anything more we really need to know about heaven? Can you imagine the bliss of being with the one who gave his life for you, to be with those whom you love and cherish more than life itself, without ever again having to feel the pain of separation? That's something to consider.